Don't tell Dad you saw me, my mom whispered at the mall with a man I didn't recognize. I was 9. I kept the secret for 20 years. Then Dad asked me to be his best man, and the truth I'd hidden since I was 9 finally caught up with me. The memory came back the second Dad said those words. Would you be my best man? I was standing in his kitchen, coffee in hand, when suddenly I was 9 years old again at Westfield Mall, watching my mom kiss a stranger. I'd been at the arcade burning through quarters Dad gave me when I saw them through the glass doors. Mom, who was supposed to be at her book club, pressed against some guy in a leather jacket by the fountain. When she spotted me frozen in the doorway, her face went white. She rushed over, gripping my shoulders hard enough to hurt. Don't tell Dad you saw me, she whispered. Please, baby. It would destroy him. I nodded because I was 9 and terrified, and I loved my dad. For months after, I carried that secret like a stone in my chest. Every family dinner felt like a performance. Every time Dad kissed Mom goodbye, I wanted to scream. But I kept quiet because that's what you do when you're a kid and your mom begs you to. Then one morning when I was 10, I woke up to shouting. Dad had found texts on Mom's phone. The divorce that followed was brutal. Mom moved to Portland with the guy from the mall, whose name I learned was Derek. Dad got the house in full custody after Mom didn't contest it. She sent birthday cards for a few years, then those stopped too. Dad never remarried. He threw himself into work and raising me alone. We became a team, just the two of us against the world. He taught me to drive, helped me through college applications, showed up to every game and graduation. When girlfriends asked why my mom wasn't around, I'd say she left. That was true enough. Now Dad was getting remarried to Linda, a kind woman who made him laugh again after 2 decades of loneliness. I can't think of anyone else I'd want standing beside me, he said, eyes bright. You've been there through everything. The irony nearly choked me. I'd been there all right, keeping the secret that might have given him closure years earlier. That night, the guilt that I'd buried for 20 years clawed its way up. I'd protected Mom's lie. Let Dad think the affair was sudden when it had been going on for who knows how long before he found out. He'd spent years wondering what he'd missed, what signs he'd ignored. I could have told him the truth. I called my therapist at midnight. I'm the worst son alive. She listened to everything, then said something that gutted me. You were a child protecting yourself, but you're an adult now. What do you need to do? I knew what I needed to do. I just didn't know if I could. 3 days before the wedding, I asked Dad if we could talk. We sat on his back porch where he'd helped me with homework for years. There's something I need to tell you about Mom. His face went carefully neutral. Okay, I told him everything. The mall, the kiss, her whispered threat, the 20 years of crushing guilt. When I finished, I couldn't look at him. I'm sorry. I should have told you immediately. You deserve to know. The silence stretched so long I thought he'd ask me to leave. Then he put his hand on my shoulder. You were 9 years old. She put an impossible burden on a child. That's on her, not you. His voice cracked. I'm sorry you carried that alone. His tears came out and we both cried then, finally grieving the betrayal together instead of separately. He told me he'd spent years in therapy working through the divorce. Learning that Mom's affair started earlier wouldn't change his healing. What matters, he said, is that you're here now, that you've always been here. At the wedding, I stood beside him as his best man. During his vows to Linda, Dad looked at me and smiled. Not the sad smile I'd seen for 20 years, but something genuine. Later, he pulled me aside. Thank you for telling me. That secret isn't yours to carry anymore. For the first time since I was 9 years old, I finally believed him.